son plays for Arsenal Football Club. I live in a storage room. Niles, Arsenal player. I'm homeless and I'm living in a big yellow storage unit. It started with my older son going to, I got him into football when he was 5 years old. Ainsley, you just take him along and you let him play and you don't think much of it until I realised that he knew what he was doing with the ball. He was about 2 years old when we identified that, myself and my older son's coach, we took a look at Ainsley and he said to me he thought Ainsley was one of the best players that he had seen so young. I raised my kids as a single mother of two, and we lived in low poverty. It was hard. There was times, his dad would help out, and there was times that he wasn't helping out in the right ways. Like, for example, food. You can't eat a pair of football boots. The breakdown in communication began with myself and Ainsley when reports came out of me attacking the Arsenal negotiator, Richard Law, and then again after the Ipswich incident where I was apparently supposed to have left a voicemail for Mick McCarthy. I raised kids for 21 years, so being a young mum, I just felt that it was time for me to know me, and Ainsley was in a better position at that time where I felt that he could be left. He was left with his older brother. So I travelled, articles came out, stories came out about me leaving horrible messages on Mick McCarthy's phone, which wasn't true. It wasn't a horrible message that was left there. It was basically a message that said something along these lines: you're the manager of your pitch, you do your job, let me do mine. My best interest was about Ainsley. I was talking to him every day while I was away from home. He picked me up from the airport, everything was fine. Going into the Saturday that Ainsley uprooted and just disappeared from home. Literally I went out and spent the day with my oldest son. Came home, I still had jet lag from Australia, travelling back that week. Slept in Ainsley's bed. I felt this really, I couldn't describe the feeling. It was just a horrible feeling in my heart that something didn't feel right, but I couldn't figure out what it was. I woke up in the middle of the night. Ainsley asked me to get out of his bed. I went into my bed, and then during some point in the night I woke up again to find that my children had just disappeared. This was a year ago. Ainsley was paying the rent on the property that myself and my two children were living in. And then 6 months later I had to leave because obviously it was beyond the amount that I could pay for the property, a £2,000, £2 home. So I became homeless. I was self-employed, but I didn't have taxes to show my earnings to prove that, so I needed a guarantor. Ainsley refused to be a guarantor for me. So I've lived in a caravan, I've lived in a car, I've lived in, now I've resorted to having to stay in my storage unit. It's a metal container. It doesn't have a window, it doesn't have curtains that you can draw, it doesn't have carpet, it doesn't have a toilet, it doesn't have washing facilities, it doesn't have, literally has nothing. It's just a storage unit with a space that I have put all my belongings around to create a space that I can then put my double mattress on the floor and then lay my blankets out on top of it. I can't physically describe it other than saying it's not home. That's how I can describe it. It's not home. I know what home feels like. I know what it's like, just simple things, to shower, to brush your teeth, just to have your time where you can sit in your room and just spend time for yourself, just treating yourself nice. All that I miss, some just basic things that you miss, that you haven't got anymore. Most of all, you miss, not having your family. My son Ainsley is in a position that he could buy me a flat in 2 weeks, in 2 months wage packs, but the money's gone to his head and I'm left in this position.
Now if you come on down to Highbury, you can see Thierry Henry. He is the best player you will ever see. Thierry Henry. Now if you come on down to Highbury,